And we say neither should Ukraine hold their breath. Nobody is sanctioning India for buying Russian oil. Also, no one is rolling out the red carpet for Ukraine to join the European Union. They want it very much, the EU membership. But every time they push for it, Europe throws the rule book at them. They love sticking to process, apparently. So no membership just yet, no fighter jets either. But to show their commitment to the larger cause, Europe is happy to sanction Russia a little more. I'm not sure who's buying all of this anymore, but Europe is trying all it can. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is in Kyiv. She traveled by train. Symbolism, check. But what is she doing there? Attending an EU-Ukraine summit. Also telling Ukraine that the goal of joining the EU in 2 years is, well, ambitious. It will take time, and that is an understatement. Ukraine's EU candidacy was approved last June, but officials say the process to formally join could take decades. If you don't believe me, ask Turkey, now Turkey. Do you know when they became an EU candidate, Turkey? 1999. Candidates need to fulfill certain criteria before joining the EU. Turkey is still waiting, by the way. And tackling corruption is one of those criteria, which explains Ukraine's recent crackdown on graft. Just before Ursula von der Leyen's visit, Zelensky is trying to prove that he fits the bill. But it won't be so easy. The EU is walking a tightrope. It cannot throw out the membership rule book for Ukraine. At the same time, it cannot afford to appear unsympathetic. After all, billions have been spent on bolstering Kyiv's forces. Europe has done all of this while its own people suffer a crippling cost of living crisis. So how do you show support without giving membership? Europe is sending 2,400 electric generators to Ukraine. No, this is not funny. You want to join the club? Sorry. Here you can have a generator. Classic Europe. To be fair, they're also spending about $164 million to buy vital energy equipment. The EU says it will train 30,000 Ukrainian troops for combat. It will spend about $27 million to remove mines from what they call liberated territory. And the EU president has promised new sanctions on Russia. They're scheduled for February 24th, the war's first anniversary. Yes, it's been almost a year since Russia began this special military operation, that's what they call it, and it doesn't look likely to end anytime soon. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky hopes it will end by next year. He has said, and I quote, "We must do everything we can together so that next year, on the first Thursday of February, we will be able to pray simply with thanks for the obtained salvation from evil." Well, that will have to wait. Right now, the fighting may intensify. This is Ukraine's warning. Zelensky says Russia is planning a massive offensive on the war's anniversary, and he's urging his allies to send more weapons. After much deliberation, tanks are on their way. The US is set to send 31 Abrams tanks. Germany and other Western allies are sending Leopard 2 tanks. Of course, Russian President Vladimir Putin has taken note. He was in Volgograd on Thursday. The city's old name may be more famous, Stalingrad, the site of the bloodiest battles of World War II. More than 1 million people perished in the Battle of Stalingrad. It was a hard-fought Soviet victory against Nazi Germany, and it was a turning point in that war. Putin was there to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the battle's end, and during his speech he said, history was repeating itself. He said, "It's unbelievable but true. We are again being threatened by German Leopard tanks."
Невероятно, но факт. Нам снова угрожают немецкими танками «Leopard», на борту которых.
Putin hinted at escalating the war. He said it won't end with the use of armored vehicles. In fact, escalation seems to be on everyone's agenda. Case in point, the United States. It is set to announce a fresh military package for Ukraine. It will pump in another $2 billion. The US has already spent more than $50 billion on Ukraine. The last tranche of weapons will include, the latest one will include GPS-guided bombs. These are bomb-tipped rockets with a range of about 130 kilometers. That's almost twice the range of the rockets fired from the HIMARS launchers. But here's the catch. The deliveries are not expected for another 9 months. What does that tell you? The West seems prepared for a drawn-out war. And they're fighting not just with the military power, they're also deploying their soft power to support Ukraine. The next Olympics will be held in France next year in 2024. The US says it supports blocking Russia and Belarus from these games. And Washington isn't calling for an outright ban. It says the athletes should not be allowed to represent their nations, but they should be allowed to participate as neutral individuals. The International Olympic Committee agrees, but Zelensky says there is no such thing as neutrality.